All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of Saber Sims DFS office hours. It is Monday, February 6th of 2023. It is a great week. It is Super Bowl week. Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday. Going to be a fun, action-packed week. Looks like we got an 8-game NBA slate tipping off tonight. We got a 6-game hockey slate. There is golf this week. There is MMA on Saturday. Super Bowl is on Sunday, so no better time to be playing DFS. If you are not joined up with SaberSim, I would recommend clicking the 7-day, no strings attached free trial link in the description below. Coming on this show, getting your questions answered ahead of all the action this week. And a surprise announcement, we are going to be hosting a NFL Showdown / Super Bowl specific stream on Friday. I will be there. Jordan will be there. And I believe Matt will be there as well. So it should be a fun stream on Friday. Do not miss it. If you guys have questions about NFL Showdown, Super Bowl specific, throw them in the Office Hours channel. I'm going to be creating a list of questions throughout the week for us to talk about. Want to get some feedback as to what people want to know ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. So want to let everybody know about that. But getting back to Office Hours, my name is Andrew, one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. This is a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions that come in the Office Hours channel in our Discord server. There is a link to the Discord in the description below. You can also ask questions live in the YouTube chat. We'll get to all the questions before the end of the show. But that being said, going to get SaberSim pulled up here. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really looking forward to that show on Friday. I love having Jordan and Matt on, picking their brains and just hearing what they have to say. You know, if you guys are on the pro plan, there's been a lot of pro content with Jordan and Matt specifically, and just two sharp individuals, been playing DFS a long time, and just a wealth full of knowledge if you guys ask the right questions. So going to hop in the Discord here. Only one question to get us started today. So if anybody has any questions, now is a great time to get them in. But it looks like we had one question here from Snowman, who was so kind enough to send us a picture of a lovely beach while he was on vacation, I believe last week. So Snowman said, "What's up, SaberSim, back from vacation. Let's win some big money. Thank you, Andrew, for the shout out. Just caught up watching all the Office Hours. NBA question, should you play the backup player when the starter goes out, or should you look somewhere else?" So this is a good question, right? I will say that, usually here, what is going to happen is like, let's look at Brooklyn for tonight, right? Brooklyn's a great example. Kyrie just got traded to the Mavs. For anybody who missed that, I don't think Dinwiddie or Dorian Finney-Smith are ready to make their debut yet. And I believe KD is still hurt. So probably going to be a lot of value over here on Brooklyn. What you're mostly trying to capitalize on when, a starter gets ruled out is the fact that salaries are static. So, DraftKings releases the salaries for the slate probably yesterday night, and then news breaks throughout the day. Let's say somebody, gets ruled out, and now they come into a lot of usage. They come into a lot of extra minutes that they were not expected to have when those salaries got released. So now this player is a great value play because their salary does not accurately reflect their new projection, right? So a lot of times when a guy is out and a backup is starting, that guy is usually a really good play, right? And we will kind of tell you that. I think the best way to identify those situations is sorting by the value column. And let's look at the highest value play for tonight, which would be Jaden Hardy over on Dallas. So if I go and filter to Dallas, Luka is out. Kyrie is not on the team yet. Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith just got traded. Christian Wood, questionable tonight. This would be his first game back from a fractured thumb. The highest salary player on Dallas tonight, not named Christian Wood, is Tim Hardaway at 5,200. So guys like Josh Green, guys like Jaden Hardy, come into a lot of minutes, come into a lot of usage at a very low salary. So I think these plays are great. SaberSim is going to kind of tell you that, hey, this guy, his point per dollar ratio is very high. That means that he's probably mispriced based on the situation, and that player is probably a good play. Not to say that, all value plays are good plays. The ownership comes into account. What I would really recommend doing is, run a research build, run a test build, and see how much these players are coming up. If you want to find, closer to like the players like optimal on a big 8-game slate, I would run like a 009 build and see how often that player is coming up. You could run a build at default settings and just see how much of this player the builder is putting in your lineups, as well as your pool of lineups, and then kind of try to figure out, compared to the player's ownership, because I think that's kind of what you should always be taking into account is exposure versus ownership. Is this player a good play? So those are my thoughts. Snowman, let me know if you have any follow-up. All right, hopping over to the YouTube chat. Franklin said, hey, Andrew, are we going to start having NASCAR projections? If not, can you show how to upload projections from one site and put into yours? So, Franklin, good question. We will have projections for Daytona. We did not have projections for the Clash this weekend. I actually attended the Clash, so I got to enjoy that live experience. Actually, my first NASCAR event. So it was fun. I had a good time. But the reason that we did not have projections was due to the format. So, qualifying usually happens like the day before, but qualifying happened during the heats and the last chance qualifying, which took place, which finished up about an hour before lock. So just with the heats and the last chance qualifiers and, going from 40 drivers down to 27, we could not support that format. But for something more standard like Daytona, we will have NASCAR projections. So just a side note there. I didn't know that going into the weekend. Manny asked about it in the Discord. So sorry, Manny, I wasn't aware of the strange format and how that was all going to work out. But we will have NASCAR projections. We do Sim NASCAR. If you ever want to upload projections, what you can do is you come over to this upload tab. If you download a CSV from another site, or you have your own CSV where you're doing projections, and you export it, you can upload here, and then it will just take you to like a file upload. We will read the column headers and we can match them to an extent. I would always double check this and make sure that the right columns are being matched. Or what you could do is you could just copy and paste. You have a file, Excel file, CSV, whatever you want. You just copy and paste the file, the columns you want. You just paste it right into this top left cell, and then make sure the columns match. You hit save, and then that will upload the file into SaberSim. The projections go into this editable My Proj column. The ownership goes into this editable My Own column, and then you could either leave it in those columns and just run your lineups with that, or you could save the projections and ownership if you're on the pro plan, and then you could possibly do like some aggregation if there's more than one site that you want to use. So that's how you do it, Franklin. Let me know if you have any follow-up. All right. Next and last question right here from 8-Game. If anybody has any questions, please get them in the chat. All right. 8-Game said, I'm 150 maxing 4 different contests on the DraftKings main slate today. Would it be best to use my top 600 lineups sorted by rank and the cost of the contest, or would I be better off using my top 150 for each contest? Okay. Good question here. So I do think that it is best to run a unique lineup for each of these contests. So if I had 600, well, okay. So I'm gonna give you guys like 2 answers here. So first, you should always our standard messaging is you should play a unique lineup for each entry. I think that's good advice. I think that's sound advice. So if I was doing this 600 lineups, I would build our 600, entries. I would build 600 lineups. And then in the entry editor, what I would do is I could probably just demo this. So I'm going to go over to my entries. I'm going to hit download. This is on FanDuel, which I have entries for tonight. So FanDuel is going to pop up here, and I'm just doing this off the screen really quickly. I'm going to download my CSV here, and then I'm going to bring it into SaberSim and upload it, right? So boom, CSV is in the entry editor. This is what so from here, right? I have 383 entries. best practice is to build a unique lineup for each entry. I do think that sorting by price pool is the best option. So what I would do is I would just look at the contest name. So, it says 9K fadeaway. So 9K is the highest price pool. And then piggy bank here. And then there's like a 4K of another 4K, a 3K. So you could just use the little drag and drop feature and move these around, right? And order them accordingly. So that is best practice. I'll tell you guys something that I do that is different from that, but maybe, some of you guys are playing like a similar style. So I just want to be kind of real with you guys. I only build a unique lineup for contests where the first place prize pays for my entry fees for the day. So here, I have this like 250 NBA small dribbler. It's like a $1 300 person entry contest. I'm playing it because it's under $3 and I want as much action under $3 as I can get, but I don't really care about a $25 first prize. It's not going to pay for my entry fees for the day. So like for this contest, I'm probably not building a unique lineup. So that's something that I like to do. All of these satellites, like I just max out all of the satellites on in the under $3. This trade day shot, it's a $3 ticket. Do I really want a unique lineup in my $3 ticket? I could, but I don't do that. I don't care enough to do that. Mostly because if I were to like add these up, this is probably like 200-ish lineups that I actually care about first prize, but I have 383 lineups. So what I think about is like, what I think my exposures are going to, if I did a unique lineup for each of these, what I think my exposures are going to look like might be different in my top 200 than in my total 383. I might think, I have so much of this player, but a lot of that is coming in my like last 183 entries. And then I don't have that player in like the ones that I care about. So I mostly just build based on the price pools that I care about and then let those duplicate into my satellites. But that's mostly because these satellites are like $3 tickets, $4 tickets, $5 tickets, whatever it may be. So it's kind of what I do. If you're not playing a bunch of satellites and mostly GPPs, which it sounds like you're doing, there are not a lot of 150 max GPPs. I would just build 600 unique lineups, order them by prize pool, and then fill using unique rank. But good question there. 8 game. All right. Next question from Ryan Nelson said, when we get MLB back, you get tennis and esports in the morning and then MLB, NBA, NHL at night. Spring can't come soon enough. And then also, Ryan, on like Thursdays, travel days, you get those day MLB slates. You get the double, MLB / PGA sweat on a Thursday morning. Like you can't beat that, So having those day slates is always fun, along with esports and tennis, PGA on Thursday, Friday, and then you get some MLB day baseball. So I am very much looking forward to spring. All right, Ruck said, Andrew, hope all is well. I've been trying the custom metrics from Jordan's latest pro video and have a question. I think this is once the slate locks and we go to late swap, Jordan mentions it's best not to use the metrics anymore and turn off ownership fade. In doing this, doesn't it remove the metrics you originally set and late swap in players you were originally trying to avoid? So Ruck, I have seen Jordan's video. I am aware of it. I would recommend, I don't really want to speak on Jordan's behalf. It is Jordan's metric and something that he came up with, through a lot of discussion and trial and error from what I understand. So if you have questions about Jordan's metric, I would post it in the pro channel and I would tag him. I will say, something that, maybe I should talk to him about is how do you handle, your metric when only a small percentage of a slate locks at lock time. Like we have 2 games, on an 8-game slate that lock right at 7 p.m. Eastern here. That's such a small portion, to continue to take advantage of the metric. I think you would probably want to use it more throughout the night, but but I only watched the video one time, so I would really direct any questions about the metric to Jordan. All right. 8 game set. I'm going to play the $15, the $8, the $6, and the $2. Yeah, so 8 game, I would recommend sorting them, descending in that way. So in the entry editor, put the $15, put the $8, put the 6, put the 2. One thing I will say is, if you have access to the $2, that means that you probably have access to all contests under the $3 threshold. So I would also play the 50-cent mini max. I would play the $1 20 max. I would play the quarter jukebox. Like, get as much action in those contests where the best players cannot play. The giant squids, the crafty lefties, the shady advices, the Kurtz, the OCDOBV, I think is the letters there. So get as much action where those players cannot play. You can never go wrong by doing that. I say on the stream a lot, you can be the best. You can be the 10th best poker player in the world, but if you're sitting at the table with the other 9, then now you are the worst player at the table. So keep that in mind. Try and get as much action where you are a favorite, so you have positive long-term EV. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of that, as well as playing these other contests. Ruck said, "I'll hit him up. Thanks." Yeah, don't want to just lead you astray, I guess, and would rather you hear it straight from the horse's mouth in that instance. All right, Samuel Campana said, "Hey Andrew, regardless of the sport, maybe when creating rules, is it better to have more than one within the rule or make single ones instead? Thanks." Okay, Sam, I'm gonna need an example here. So if you could give me a sport with a scenario, we could talk about it from that point of view, but that would be really helpful to me. So reading this one time. Regardless of the sport, when creating rules, is it better to have more than one within the rule or make single ones instead? Thanks. Yeah. Give me an example. Help me out a little bit with that one. So you said golf. Give me some players, show me kind of what kind of rule you're trying to create, please. All right. 8 game said, that being said, how many more lineups would I need to create to add the 50-cent ones? So the 50 cent is 150 max. It's going to really, like I said, approach I like to take is, do the entry fees for the contest, or is the first place payout for a contest, pay off my entry fees for the day, right? So that's something I like to think about. I honestly don't know what that pays. I think it pays $2K to first. Might not be enough if you're maxing the 15, the 8, the 6, and the 2. But if you think that you could build 600 positive EV lineups, there's no reason not to put them in that contest, right? It's another $75. I would work that in, and then if you duplicate the contests, the entries that go into the $15 in the 50 cent, they'll probably do better in the 50 cent. That contest is not as sharp. So, a lineup that comes in, 10th in the fadeaway in the $15 might come in first in the 50 cent. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that, the players are not as sharp. So in theory, the lineups, what it takes to win the contest should be lower. So you should probably have a higher expectation in the 50 cent over time than you would have in the $15. And then if you have a high expectation in the $15, then you're just going to crush the 50 cent. So there's no reason not to play that. All right. Sam said, I'll say golf, for example, birdies and bogeys. Okay. So let's go to golf. And I'm going to go back to last week because we do not have projections up for this week yet. So I'm going to go back to the second here. We got our golf projections from last week. We can see, who missed the cut and who made it. Wow, Matt Fitzpatrick ended up missing the cut. I wonder if he withdrew. I didn't keep up. Did he withdraw? Because I know he was having that neck issue, or he just played bad because of it. There was a lot of talk about, Fitz came in solo owned, and if you faded him because of the neck injury, then you're just giving up edge, and then he misses the cut. So I don't know if he was a good play or a bad play. But I'm just on the outside looking in. Sam said he just played really bad. Yeah, I sounds like he probably tried to push through and just didn't end up getting there. So, okay. So when creating rules, is it better to have more than one within the rule or make single ones instead? Okay, so Sam, we're talking about players, right? So if I want to do like a group, let's say manual rule or automatic rule, and then use at least one. If you're trying to do stat requirements, if you're asking like, use at least one where birdies are greater than, I don't know, what's a good birdie number here? Let's sort by birdies. Let's say use at least one where birdies are greater than, I don't know, 16. 16 seems like a good number. And then bogeys are less than, sort by bogeys here. Let's inversely sort by bogeys. Where bogeys are less than, let's say 7.5. So what this is going to do, right? If you're doing a group automatic rule with more than one stat requirement, it's just going to make that pool of players smaller, right? So I'm going to say this as a manual rule so we can go into this and look at it, and then we'll do this a couple different ways. So I have this rule with birdies greater than 16, bogeys less than 7.5. I have 12 players who meet that criteria, right? So pretty small group of players there who ultimately meet that criteria. I want to go back to projection and see how many of those players meet that criteria. It looks like it is the top 12 projected players and nobody else meets that criteria. But then, okay, so then we've tried it with both together. So then now let's try with 1 and 1. So I'm just going to do the birdies. I'm going to save as manual. And then I want to come into this. So we had 12 in that double stat. And then now we still have just 12 in this stat. And then let's try the bogeys thing. So this is kind of the process, I guess, is a better way that I could talk about this. This is kind of the process that I would go through to determine, what makes these rules different and what am I gaining or giving away by using this rule. So here, if we do bogeys less than 7.5, we get 18 players. But when I sort by projection, it is still like the top 18 players in the rule. So when we did birdies, it was the same. When we did birdies alone, it was the same as birdies and bogeys. And then when we just did bogeys, we got a higher, we got more players, but just from the top. I would frankly like to see something if I'm doing a group auto rule where, you find some value. Like all we're doing by this, I know this was just like an example rule. But what it does is like, we're just grouping the top projected players, right? And I don't think there's a ton of value by doing that. I would try and find some combination where like you could figure out, how to mix in guys that could be lower projected, but have some good secondary stats that you might want to take advantage of for a particular event. And then maybe like miss some guys kind of at the top ranges. I don't know what that would look like. I don't play enough golf to do that, but I just think that, like instead of doing it by stat, you might as well just do by projection, I guess is my point. Like why am I, grouping by birdies and bogeys? If it's still only giving me the top 12 projected guys, I might as well just put them in a group by projection and then say, use at least, 2, 3, whatever I want. So I would mess around with the stat requirements and just see, what combination of players you're getting for the rule with stat requirements, and then figure out, if you want to use just 1 stat, 2 stats, 3 stats, and figure out what's the best for the goal you're trying to accomplish, right? I think it really comes back to your target. What were you trying to accomplish, and are you accomplishing it with that rule? I would always ask yourself that when applying a rule, when building lineups with a rule. All right. Sam said, did the bug of greater than making the cut get fixed yet? Frankly, I am not sure. I did take that back to the team, and I can follow up on it. So greater than stat requirement bug follow up. So I will let you know on tomorrow's show, Sam. All right, that is all the questions in the queue in both the YouTube chat and the Discord. Still only about 25 minutes into the stream. I'm going to go ahead and do the look at the NBA to see if any more questions come in for a little bit. So let me get my screen pulled up here, and we will start talking about the NBA injury report. If anybody has any questions, it's a great time to get it in while we take a look here. Just trying to keep the stream going a little bit longer. But all right, first things first, 8-game Monday slate. Want to look at questionables, right? So Jaylen Brown, definitely looking at Jaylen Brown. Isaiah Stewart, I believe Jalen Duran would probably be a good play if Isaiah Stewart sits. Karis LeVert been out the last 2 games. I believe Cedi Osman or Cedi Osman, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, has been getting a lot of playing time with LeVert out. So that is something I would be looking into, like who is first off the bench with LeVert out. Bradley Beal questionable, something to note there as well. We know that Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith are probably not playing. Ben Simmons is questionable, right? He is like the last high salary man standing on Brooklyn. So if he plays, probably a ton of usage there. But if he doesn't play, then who kind of steps into that role, right? So definitely concerned about, want to know what happens with Jaylen Brown, Isaiah Stewart. Might want to look into who is coming off the bench a lot with Cleveland. Don't know how important that will be, but always good to know. If Bradley Beal sits, who plays a lot. They got rid of Rui Hachimura already. If Bradley Beal sits, who comes into that role, and we could maybe make some guesses. Is it Kendrick Nunn? Is he the next man up here? We could also look at depth charts, right? So ETR has free NBA depth charts. It was in the research video that Jordan and I did. So going to hop over here and, let this load, see who is listed behind Bradley Beal. They usually do a good job of updating these, and we could easily come into this website and navigate to the team that we want to see. So taking a little bit to load here, but it is coming up nonetheless. So let's let this load. We can keep going through the depth charts or the injury report until this loads, but a little funny here. So I'm going to give that a reset. All right. TJ Warren's back. TJ Warren has been out. So he is been pretty involved off the bench, I would say. So definitely someone to note there. Caruso, I believe, missed last game. Keldon Johnson is important. So, and Jared Vanderbilt, it's like a maybe. So it looks like a lot of this news is kind of in the earlier games and not the later games. So I think there's less of a reason to kind of build in some of that late swap flexibility. I would just be, this news might come out really close to lock. So try and be ready to make some swaps and make some adjustments on the fly. All right, so as well as looking at questionables, want to see who is out. Marcus Smart is already out. Looks like he's been out for a little bit. Ricky Rubio is resting, so that's another important point with the LeVert news. If LeVert sits again, now their options are like Dean Wade, Cedi Osman, and I believe there's one other person that comes off the bench quite a bit. But Ricky Rubio has been playing 20-ish minutes a game off the bench, so those are definitely minutes that need to be absorbed somewhere. Seth Curry is already out. Important to note there. Trey Jones is still out. Langford's out. Socan is out. Now if Keldon Johnson sits, I know that Malachi Branham started last week, and somebody else started. Josh Richardson started, and they were both a little cheaper on the salary on FanDuel from what I saw. So if we go find San Antonio here, Keldon Johnson is the highest salary active player on San Antonio. So with Keldon Johnson out, San Antonio could be a major value spot on tonight's slate as well. So watching San Antonio there. We already know about Dallas with Luka out, with Kyrie not there yet. So a lot of value on Dallas. And that's about it. So I'd say, Dallas is a big value spot. San Antonio could be a big value spot. Brooklyn's a big value spot. And then we might want to look into what happens with Cleveland here with all of these secondary players out. Do the primary players get more run? Does the starting five play more? That's also important, right? That is another scenario. It's not always next man up. It might be, somebody like Kuzma plays some extra minutes. So something we might want to look into there. But that is our injury report roundup for today. Hope you guys making some notes of things to watch throughout the day. All right. Got a question here from Ruck. Going back to 8 games question about unique lineups. How do you set your contest details when building? Some contests may have 1,000 entrants and some 40,000 entrants. Okay, good question, Ruck. A couple of different ways to handle this. I'll give you 3 options. So option number 1 is you use something in between the settings. So let's say, you're playing 150 max with 1 to 10,000. I would write this down and say, okay, 327 sliders. And then I'm playing, maybe one with over 50,000 entrants. That's like a 349. So then in this scenario, I play like a 338, which is right in the middle of the two. So you can balance it out and do it like that. You can also use a second option is you use the slider settings for your most money invested slate. So whatever one has, the highest percentage of your bankroll allocation, optimize for that one and build based on that. Option number 3 is you build based on the highest sliders and say, I'm going to build with the highest sliders. And in theory, it might be overkill for some of these lower size contests, but I know that lineups built using the highest sliders can easily take down something that is less total entrants. So those are like the 3 ways that I would think about it. I think doing it based on, what your highest bankroll allocation makes like the most sense. That's probably the way I would do it. But yeah, a couple options for you there. No wrong or right answer. Got to pick the one that feels the best to you, makes the most sense to you. But all right, everybody. Just had that last question from Ruck. We'll be right back here tomorrow, Tuesday, February 7th, for our next office hours show. We do this show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. For those of you who weren't here at the start of the show, we are going to be doing a special NFL Showdown / Super Bowl focused stream on Friday. It'll be myself. It'll be Jordan. Probably going to have Matt on as well. Barring any changes, Matt is a very busy person, but we do want to get the crew on here to talk about NFL Showdown. So if you guys have NFL Showdown questions, throw them in the office hours channel. I'm not going to answer any of them until Friday, but I am going to be tagging those in questions so we can have some things to talk about come Friday. So Super Bowl this weekend should be a lot of fun. And until tomorrow, I will see you all. Take care.